So you might remember that about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we posted a video about our new explosives detection puppy candidate named Lumi, who is a Springer Spaniel. Today, I wanted to talk about what I have been doing with her to kind of build the foundation for the work that we're going to be doing in the future and kind of just do an update video so you guys can see where we're at. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to talk about is not just something that I like to do with working dog puppies. It's something that can be really helpful for a lot of puppies. Pet dog puppies, sport puppies, does not matter. And then I'm also going to include a little bit of stuff I've been doing specifically for detection work. The first thing I want to talk about today, and this has kind of been the cornerstone of a lot of what we've been doing, is socialization. Now, Lumi, we got her at 9 weeks, and it was in the middle of winter in Connecticut, so there was tons of snow on the ground, and so the puppies didn't get the chance to be outside very much or meet a lot of new people. So I have really been trying to make sure that she is super solid in as many environments as possible. Now, the way that I like to socialize puppies is a little bit different than a lot of people do. I'm very systematic in how I do socialization. So when Lumi first got here, it's a long trip. It's a completely new environment. I just wanted to let her get used to the new environment and get on a schedule so she knows that she's safe with me and can trust me. So when I start taking her out different places, it's not terrifying and she doesn't feel like she needs to default back internally and just kind of panic. She knows she has social support that way. So when she first got here, I got her on a schedule, and mainly her socialization was learning the new house and getting her outside. We had a lot of snow the weekend after we brought her home, so she had a blast playing in that. After the snow, well, not even before the snow melted, but it took a while for them to clean our roads. So we couldn't really get out for a bit, which was perfect because she had to get used to the house anyways. But once we finally get to the point that we could get out of our community and into the greater community, I started taking Lumi to places like the gas station and Dollar General and just places that were really, really close by, firstly, so she could get used to being in the car without it being too overwhelming, or without her kind of creating these associations that every time she gets into the car, it's going to be some massive event. So I would take her to the gas station with me when I needed gas, and I would do my stuff. She'd stay in the crate in the back. And then when I was done, I would park somewhere and let her out and just let her see all the different sites. There's a lot of semi trucks that go by through the gas stations, or people walking in and out, filling up their gas tanks. So she can just kind of observe without actually having to interact. That can help cultivate a sense of safety. And kind of a little bit more predictability before we decide to start, going on these like big outings. So we did that for a while, and I'm still doing that. I get her out with me as much as I can for short trips. I didn't even work on any obedience. I just took her out, let her go to the bathroom, let her sniff around a bit, let her watch some stuff. We got back in the car and we went home. So very straightforward. I try to expose especially my working dog puppies, to a lot of not even so much people and other animals, but bizarre sounds and, tactile stimuli. So like, different surfaces. They have to walk over maybe surfaces that are a little bit unstable, but safe, obviously, surfaces that are slippery. The tactile stability is really, really, really important. And also auditory stimuli. So, when we would go to these gas stations, there'd be huge sounds from like the trucks going by or, people parking and people laughing and all these different sounds. So she wasn't really engaging with anything. After that, I took her to a couple of places where she just saw some kind of, strange things she wouldn't see. So there's a lumber yard close to us. It has a lot of different machinery. I just let her walk around and she got to interact with these inanimate objects. That way they were really predictable and nothing was moving. Once I realized she was totally solid with this stuff, then I started taking her out for longer, more maybe traditional socialization outings. So this would be, places like Lowe's or Hobby Lobby and PetSmart. We have been to now, obviously with dogs who are not fully vaccinated, it's important to make sure that you're taking them to places that are sanitized and maybe if like Hobby Lobby doesn't typically have a lot of dog traffic, but Lowe's and actually neither really does Lowe's, but like PetSmart, for instance, there's a lot of dogs who come in, a lot of dogs who go out. So the first time I took her, she was in the cart. And I just let her hang out in there. I made sure she was secure and she just kind of watched everything. And then I took her out by like the treat aisle and just let her sniff around. So it was a really positive experience. Um, we've been back a couple times since then. Now she's on the ground pretty much all the time when we go out. And I am not focusing, when I do these socialization outings right now, I am not focusing on doing any obedience. And I think that's important. Before you start focusing on having the dog really engage with you or your puppy engage with you, it's really important that they know that their environment is safe and predictable because how can they turn their attention away from that if they don't know that it's okay? So I just let her explore as much as possible. Now, once in a while, I will ask for a recall or just ask for her attention just to make sure that I can still build that into our socialization. As soon as she gives it to me, I will reinforce it and let her go back and start doing her thing. So it is very much about her just being able to explore the world and create positive associations with these environments. Another thing that I like to do with puppies and that I have done with her is go hang out at dog friendly coffee shops or similar places where the puppy just has to chill out. Now, it's not realistic to ask an 8, 9, 10, 16-week-old puppy to just sit there for 30 minutes or an hour while you drink coffee. But what I do is I will bring something for the puppy to do. So I brought her a tendon chew that we got. It was a new one. She hadn't gotten the chance to ever eat something like that before. So it was really, really interesting. And I also brought her crate. I've got a really small travel crate. We brought that in. We parked in the corner, put the crate out, and I had her on the leash and I just gave her her chew. And she just sat on the ground and chewed on the chew while people were coming in and going out. And we just sat there and had coffee. And it can help teach puppies to relax in those environments, which is something that you can't really do with obedience at such a young age in most puppies. In regards to meeting people and other dogs, every puppy is really different. Now, Lumi is fine with other people, but she is not 100% comfortable with completely novel people, especially people who come right up to her and crouch down and, give her a lot of direct confrontation. She's not bad, but she will kind of move backwards and I can see it happening and I know it's stressing her out a bit. So when I realized this, I decided to make my greeting of new people very systematic and until very recently just had everybody ignoring her. I didn't really let people pet her. I would just take her out and just walk by people who I knew were busy so she could go up and kind of sniff at them and we could just keep walking. And that helps immensely because she starts to realize people are not always going to give me attention. People are fine. Like I'm moving up to them and I'm making that decision and then I'm moving away and nothing bad is happening. So we did that a lot. And then I kind of went into having people come up and talk to me, maybe toss some treats on the ground and not really pay her attention. She did great with that. And very quickly, she's already at the point now where people can crouch right down and put their hands out. And she will still have that kind of moment where she's like, oh, but she'll go right up to them and, for interaction. So we made progress with that and it's happening really fast, which is excellent. In regards to her interactions with other animals, she has had limited interaction with other dogs. I am really, really as specific as I can be about the dogs that my puppies meet because puppies or other dogs are typically less predictable than humans are. And one really bad experience at a young age can create reactivity for a really long time. And it's just something I really don't want to work through if I don't have to. So she has met a couple of dogs. They were client dogs I knew were stable. and had been well socialized, and everything went well with them. But like I said, it's slow for really short sessions. She's not playing with them for hours. It's just short sessions. She's meeting them. She's getting to engage a little bit, and then we're moving away. I'm reinforcing it. We're just moving on. So that is pretty much what we have been doing for socialization. And that's the bulk of our work. Now, there's a couple other things that I have been doing that are really important. And the primary one is building play drive or toy drive. So, technically both. So because Lumi is hopefully going to be an explosives detection dog, I want to make sure that she remains toy motivated. Now she's got the right genetics, but also sometimes puppies have a tendency to be very motivated by their environment. And, obviously she's still food motivated because she's a puppy, but I like to build toy drive. I want to build a really strong desire to possess toys, because that will help us a lot in the work that we're going to be doing when she's older. So with my Belgians, I focused a lot on tugging because that is what they like to do. Lumi's a little bit different. She will tug and she's happy to do that, but she loves to fetch. She likes to retrieve. So I am doing a lot of work with the ball. Now, when we're outside and I have the tennis ball, at first I was just tossing it and we're just doing a few short repetitions. When you're doing this stuff, you always want to quit while you're ahead before the puppy gets bored. So I would drag the tennis ball around, kind of like how you would use a flirt pole to get her chasing it. And then I would toss it a short distance. That way she doesn't really have the time to get distracted. She'd grab it, run around with it. Sometimes she would bring it back. Sometimes she wouldn't, but that is not really, I don't care about that right now. I just want to build the drive to go get the tennis ball, to have the tennis ball. Now, with tug, I have many different types of tug toys. So I've tried several different things. Some have worked better than others, but she's got a soft mouth. So she doesn't want to just like grab it and yank on it like my Belgians do. So I'm a lot more delicate. Most of it is just building chase. So I will use a flirt pole, and I've got some long tugs that have, real like fur on the ends of them or whatever, things that you can really whip around, and she will just chase those and she'll finally grab them. We'll play tug a little bit. I'm really gentle not to rip it out of her mouth. Sometimes if it does happen, I'll go right into having her chase it again because she really enjoys the chase. And then when she has it, tug a few seconds, and then I'll let her have it. And then I'll play with her a little bit more. And I'm trying to play with her as many places as possible because the play helps build engagement with you, the handler, or in this case with me. It hopefully will help build that engagement. But also, if I'm going to be using her reinforcer in explosives work, I want her to be comfortable playing with me anywhere where she does not feel like she needs to be looking at the environment. She is just 100% focused on getting that toy and engaging with me with the toy. So that has been a massive part of what we've been doing every day. The other thing we've started doing recently is working on imprinting her first target odor using a box. So the reason why I am using the detection box in the imprinting process with her is because she is a scratcher and she gets frustrated, and I do not want her, it's something that I want to break. So, obviously with, explosives training aids, they're delicate. I don't want to move anything around too much, especially the stuff I have that is real, but I also don't want her being able to access it directly because most of the time, hopefully all of the time, when you're working explosives dog, there's going to be layers upon layers. It's almost always inaccessible hides, inaccessible target odors. So I want her to get used to not being directly on top of that scent right away. And she's still very close to it because I want to make sure she's also only imprinting on the scent, or on the target odors. But there's just a number of reasons I'm using the detection box. And also it's going to help because I can start moving into more boxes and having her search more systematically, which is really important in explosives. She's doing really, really good with this. Absolutely loves it. She's grown infatuated with boxes and will seek them out in the house. Obviously, it's not the boxes she's looking for, but that will come with time. But she's associating them with being able to hunt, which is awesome. She's doing really good with that. I'm not doing that outside at all right now because she's still such a puppy. And, I don't want her getting distracted at all when I'm imprinting. I want imprinting to be the most interesting thing that is happening because that target odor and the association that she has with it is just paramount to success in something like this. Now, the one thing that everybody always does with their puppy that they think is really important, I don't really focus on it, is obedience training. I don't focus on obedience training specifically until puppies are a lot older. At least my detection puppies or search and rescue puppies, I do not, because I don't want to do anything that can impede or contradict, what I'm trying to teach them in their discipline specific work. Building engagement will help your dog learn obedience really, really fast down the line. Right now, it's all relationship building, engagement building. Now, that being said, Lumi is a much more independent puppy than my Belgians were, and a lot of other herding dogs are. And she has no problem running far and fast in the other direction. So I saw this pretty early on, and I was like, okay, we got to work on this. So she has a recall, and recall we have been practicing every day, off lead, on lead, in as many different environments as we can. Recall is kept really, really fun. I use super high value reinforcement for recall. And then as soon as she comes back to me, play, or give her food or whatever. And then I say, okay, and let her go back out. That way she keeps positive associations with the cue. I'm also rewarding a lot of engagement or just things that she does in her daily life or in our walks or out in public that I like. I like to just, I like to mark those behaviors. So I'll have treats with me as much as possible. If she does something I really like, I'll just, yes, and go ahead, reinforce a lot of praise. That way she can start learning that is a behavior that I want her to repeat in the future. I'm just not asking her to do that. But recall is really important. She knows her name. And so I do ask for engagement out in public. But like I said, it's short, it's sweet, and then she goes back out to do what she wants to do. Now, I have also taught her sit and down. And she's got those really well, but I am not asking for anything that requires sustained impulse control. So stay or place or any kind of boring cue. Puppies, especially really high energy puppies, find those things really difficult. And right now, I want her life to be just super, super fun, super interesting, so she can go and explore all of her curiosities and get that out of her system. There will be plenty of time to work on obedience once her brain has developed enough to have that impulse control and to do those sustained commands. I also start puppies on some very basic conditioning behaviors. So, I've got a wobble board that I'll use, or some of these like blow up discs, just to have them stabilizing their legs and their ankles and their, all their different joints. Because I think that's really, really important, and that can lead to better conditioning down the line, especially in dogs that are really active, because you just increase the chances that they could injure themselves if they're living an active lifestyle. And the last thing that I have been doing with her is getting her conditioned to handling. And I do this every single day. And I don't make a big deal out of it, but I get her used to having me flip her ears up and mess around with her ears. I always pick up her feet every single day. I've clipped her nails now several times. Sometimes I'll just do like one nail a day, even if I'm barely clipping anything off, just to make sure she is used to it. And also, so it's not some sort of odious task that takes 30 minutes and is a huge struggle for us both. Handling her just in general, getting her flipped over, getting her used to me, handling her mouth and having my hands near her teeth, because for teeth brushing, that's really important. I've brushed her. She is in the bath most days for just a short amount of time, even just so I can wash her feet, because I want her to be used to that. When I force dry my other dogs, I will put her in the crate near the force dryer and just let her hang out. That way she gets used to the sound. She gets used to seeing the other dogs not responding to the force dryer. And hopefully when she gets older and I need to use it on her, and there's a progression that I have. I don't just go from 0 to 100 with the force dryer. But this is the first step in that progression. I'm just getting her used to seeing it and hearing it. So that has basically been what we have been doing for the past few weeks since she has been with us. She's doing great. She's making a ton of progress and she's getting so big. But I love to see how confident she's becoming. And I'm really excited to see how she will develop in the future. We will be trying to produce more of these videos, updated videos, hopefully every few weeks, just maybe every month, just so you guys can see how she's progressing and kind of her journey learning explosives detection. So thank you so much for watching today. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you soon.